Happy at times. The point deduction by the referee, I don't know where that referee was looking at. I don't know what he was doing. The first knockdown was legitimate when Chisora went through the ropes. The second one was more through fatigue, where Wilder had backed him up onto the ropes. He threw a shot, it didn't hit.
I don't think that's your job, Mr. Referee. You're not supposed to, and if you hadn't helped him back into the ring, he would have been counted out.
Times it came up the middle, a lot of the time it was landing high on Chisora's head. Obviously Chisora's down here coming in low, isn't he? So he's catching him there, and I thought it seemed like things were against him tonight, Wilder. Do you know what I mean? I thought the referee.
I was about to watch it.
Referee. I mean, it's a
good fight. It was a competitive fight. I thought Wilder won. I thought he won. But listen, Del Boy's a warrior, unbelievable heart, and a good entertaining fight.
Boxing professionals have criticized Derek Chisora for blaming the referee after his defeat to Deontay Wilder, and many analysts are now also questioning his reaction toward the official. Instead of taking responsibility, Chisora pointed out supposed officiating errors, but commentators argue this is simply an attempt to shift blame. They emphasize that the referee was handling a highly chaotic and physical fight, and focusing on him takes attention away from Wilder's key moments.
Quite different about Derek Chisora, in terms of heavyweight boxing at least. When he says he's going to take the fight to somebody and he's fearless of anybody, that's exactly what he is, and he does exactly what he said he was going to do. You know, from the opening bell, he just went after Wilder. Bearing in mind, Wilder's got one of the highest knockout ratios, not in the world, but of any heavyweight that's ever lived. He's knocked out a ton of guys, and all right, he's not the Wilder of old, but he still carries a lot of power.
As well as Chisora's own mistakes in the ring, Chisora further expressed his frustration, claiming the ropes were loose, that he was pushed, and that the referee mishandled both knockdowns and point deductions. However, critics describe this as a typical post-fight excuse, where a fighter avoids accountability by blaming officiating in what was still a fair but chaotic contest. Deontay Wilder also responded angrily, insisting the referee completely lost control of the fight.
I didn't agree with that. You know, the ropes were very loose. I went on the ropes, he fell into me, pushed me, the ref said break, and as it broke, I went through the ropes, they started counting. The second time, they took a point, and it still counted me out, but I don't know.
He argued that illegal shots to the back of the head were allowed, warnings were ignored, and even Chisora's corner entering the ring added to the disorder. Wilder believes the fight should have been stopped via disqualification, saying it felt like he was fighting both Chisora and the referee due to the chaos and lack of control. Meanwhile, Jeff Powell highlighted the confusion around the referee's decisions, but clarified that Chisora's team may be exaggerating the situation. He pointed out inconsistencies in knockdown counts, with some claiming 3, while others recorded only 2 clear knockdowns through the ropes.
Because a referee decided to allow something to happen that it shouldn't have happened. That was one of the things the referee asked, do we have questions? And Shelley brought it to his attention. It was one of the things we warned him to not do. It's allow him to hit me in the back of the head. And then it's supposed to have been a disqualification because his team ran up in the ring. I mean, damn, I'm fighting Derek and the referee.
He also noted that these were legitimate knockdowns, not fouls. And in one instance, Chisora was helped back into the ring, showing the referee was trying to manage a chaotic but controlled situation rather than acting unfairly. Adam Smith described the fight as complete chaos rather than a technical boxing match. He explained that there was no clean boxing, only a brutal battle of endurance, pride, and survival from both fighters.
Well, it reached the point where he apparently wasn't sure of how many counts he'd given. Some people were saying 3. I counted 2, both times when Derek was through the ropes legally, not thrown over or whatever, it was not through the ropes.
According to him, Chisora and Wilder delivered 12 rounds of relentless action, thrilling fans despite the lack of technical precision. Eddie Hearn offered a balanced view, saying Wilder looked better than expected, but still not fully convincing. He also praised Chisora's toughness.
It was quite eventful. It was absolute madness. Crazy fight, fun fight. Fans loved it. How do you dissect it? So much happened. I think you don't look at it as any technical skills, and they're all warriors, aren't they? You look at it as what it was, a street fight, a war, two guys going for it, pride, showing great chins actually, resistance, resilience. At their ages and stages, they owe us nothing in the boxing world, and they dished up 12 rounds of that, which was...
making it clear the fight was always going to be difficult. In the end, it was suggested that Wilder did just enough to secure the win, even though questions about his performance remain. Frank Warren emphasized that Deontay Wilder did not depend on power alone in this fight.
He looked better. Listen, Chisora's not easy. Do you know what I mean? He's a tough man. He's not an easy guy to beat. Obviously, I wasn't impressed with Wilder, but I was more impressed than I thought.
He showed patience, composure, and toughness under heavy pressure. Even after absorbing hard shots, Wilder remained calm and gradually wore Derek Chisora down before landing the decisive blows.
We got a fight which had everyone on their feet in the last round with an atmosphere that you couldn't cut through, and it was insane. It delivered. They delivered exactly what it said on the tin. We said it's going to be an unforgettable night. What?
This ability to stay composed under fire and still produce a fight-ending moment is what sets him apart from most heavyweights today. Kalle Sauerland described exactly what fans witnessed, a classic war that lived up to expectations, with both Deontay Wilder and Derek Chisora.
A lot of good shots off, but, you know, it wasn't nothing to a king. You know, I'm a king, and I showed that tonight. The punches I absorbed, and I came back. It's all about having fun. I had to heal. You know, it took a long time for me to heal, but I'm back. And I'm going to get better and better each and every time. You know, and man, what a fun night tonight.
Giving everything they had inside the ring. The bout turned into a chaotic and unforgettable spectacle filled with non-stop intensity, drama, and moments that kept the audience fully engaged from start to finish. Wilder came out aggressively and confidently, declaring himself a king while dismissing anything Chisora managed to land. Although Chisora had brief moments of success, Wilder insisted none of those shots truly troubled him.
It was everything he thought it was going to be, entertaining, had its ebbs and flows, had its ups and downs, it had its moments. It did have all of those pieces. So yeah, look, it was a good little scrap.
Reinforcing his belief in his strength and dominance at this level. Wilder also spoke about his recovery process, admitting it took time to heal, but claiming he is now back and improving with every fight. If this version of Wilder continues to develop while retaining his knockout power, it could pose a serious threat to the entire heavyweight division. Fabio broke the fight down as complete chaos, highlighting momentum swings.
I thought he looked better. Listen, Chisora's not easy. Do you know what I mean? He's a tough man. He's not an easy guy to beat. Obviously, I wasn't impressed with Wilder, but I was more impressed than I thought. If that makes sense.
Knockdowns, and shifting control between both fighters. He noted that the contest was extremely difficult to score, as both men had impactful moments, but slightly leaned toward Wilder due to cleaner and more effective shots in key exchanges. Despite the confusion, he still called it a close and highly entertaining battle that could have gone either way, depending on perspective. Eddie Hearn admitted that Wilder was not at his absolute peak, but still looked sharper and more composed than expected.
Are phenomenal. His jab was great. Body shots, particularly tonight, targeted. The right.
He also praised Chisora's toughness, calling him a nightmare opponent who is always difficult to defeat. While not fully impressed by Wilder's overall performance, Hearn acknowledged noticeable improvements compared to his recent fights. This combination of criticism and surprise suggests Wilder remains a dangerous force, even if he has not fully returned to his prime. Adam Smith analyzed the fight by focusing on Wilder's improvements in movement, timing, and shot selection. He pointed out how the jab created openings, while body shots and right hands over the top repeatedly broke through Chisora's defense. According to Smith, the difference was not just power, but smarter positioning and more accurate punching. These technical adjustments ultimately shifted momentum and helped decide the outcome of a chaotic heavyweight clash. Liam Gough explained how the fight quickly became messy from the opening rounds, with Derek Chisora rushing forward aggressively like a bull, pushing Wilder backward toward the ropes. He noted that Chisora consistently attacked the body early, landing heavy shots that made Wilder appear pressured at times. According to Goff, Wilder was often made uncomfortable in this fight and was forced into more clinching than usual, which prevented him from finding his natural rhythm. From the opening round, it was obvious this would not be a technical boxing chess match, but instead a chaotic and physically exhausting war. Both fighters were frequently tied up along the ropes early, creating a messy but highly entertaining atmosphere that defined the tone of the entire bout. Sean Zittel believes the fight showcased two experienced but worn warriors, with both Deontay Wilder and Derek Chisora clearly past their
bull rushing him like a bull in the china shop. It meant that Wilder was already backing himself up to the ropes even faster and even more off balance. And Chisora made a concerted effort to go to Wilder's body. He was letting some of those body shots go from very, very early on. And I did feel at times Wilder looked a little bit uncomfy. He was clinching a lot more than we're ever used to seeing him. But we were, from the first round, it was apparent we were in for a very wild fight and a fun fight, but a very messy fight at the same time. Because towards the back end of the first round, both guys ended up on the ropes, and it was weird.
Prime, yet still competing with pride, heart, and determination. Despite their decline, they delivered an engaging contest filled with momentum swings and damage on both sides. Zittel argues that a split decision would have been fair, as Wilder produced the more damaging moments by rocking Chisora with clean power shots, while Chisora's relentless pressure and high work rate kept him competitive throughout. In the end, it became a classic clash between Wilder's explosive impact punches and Chisora's constant volume, making it the kind of fight that could reasonably be scored either way depending on perspective. Carl Frampton admitted he slightly favored Wilder, but also stressed how difficult the fight was to score due to its chaos and constant shifts in momentum. He noted that many rounds were so messy and unpredictable that it would be normal for scorecards to vary widely. Frampton also reflected on Chisora's performance, suggesting it may not have been the fairy tale ending he hoped for, but still praising his effort and legacy. He described Chisora as a true heavyweight icon who has nothing left to prove after 15 to 20 years in the sport. Despite the result, Frampton believes both fighters earned respect for delivering a brutal and entertaining fight remembered more for intensity and drama than technical skill. After all the controversy and back-and-forth action, the fight leaves fans with a major question. What matters more? Clean, powerful moments or relentless pressure and heart? Wilder landed the heavier, fight-changing shots, while Chisora brought non-stop aggression and forward pressure from start to finish. The debate over the result, refereeing decisions, and scoring will continue long after the final bell. This was not a polished boxing display. It was a full-scale war. Both men proved they still belong at a high level, even if questions remain about how much they have left in their careers. In the end, fights like this are what keep boxing alive. Unpredictable, emotional, and controversial. Now, it's your turn. Who do you think really won this war? Was it Wilder's power or Chisora's pressure? Share your opinion and join the debate.